Welcome to Everyday Martial Artist, a weekly podcast where you'll join me, Brian Doucette, as I interview a different martial artist each episode and hear their story. Some guests you may have heard of, and some you probably haven't. Be sure to subscribe where all your favorite podcasts are available. Also visit our website at everydaymartialartist.com. If you're listening for a specific interview, I sure hope you'll stay and check out the other episodes. A very special thank you to Topher Williams for our custom theme music. And now, the newest episode of Everyday Martial Artist. Everyday Martial Artist is brought to you by KOOnline.com for all your martial arts needs. Sparring and safety gear, rank belts, uniforms, weapons, patches, and more. Wholesale supplies made by martial artists for martial artists. Visit us today at ko-online.com. Hello and welcome to Everyday Martial Artist. I'm your host, Brian Doucette, and as we do every week, we're joined by a brand new guest talking about their life and their journey throughout the world of martial arts. My guest today is based out of Toronto, Canada, and has studied martial arts for over 40 years. He has black belts in several systems and is cross-trained in numerous others. He teaches private lessons to small groups and also local and international seminars. He's also a blogger and a podcaster. Outside of martial arts, he's a husband, father, and former software developer, and currently an elementary school teacher. Please welcome to the show, Mr. Chris Hanson. How are you doing today, sir?
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate that. I'm doing great.
No, I appreciate your time. I'm glad we could do this. So what we do with all my guests, I want to go back to the beginning. I want to know where that first spark came from, that first interest. What led to your first interest in martial arts?
Oh, that's great. I've been asked this many times, so it's fresh in my mind, and it's also the answer is a very deep and meaningful one too. But I'll keep it short.
Take as much time. Take as much time as you want.
All right, so I'll stretch it out. So yeah, I started when I was 10 years old. I grew up. So I'm going to be 54 this year. I started when I was 10. I've been training more or less pretty much every year, give or take a couple of years. There were a couple of times in my life where I had to stop for personal reasons and things. But I started when I was 10 out of necessity. I had no choice. I grew up in a small town in Toronto here, Scarborough, it's called. And in the late 60s, early 70s, it was a very racially tense time. I was in a school where I was the only Asian kid, and the rest was they were all white, and there was a lot of prejudice against difference and things like that. Just basically a lack of understanding of each other. And yeah, so I was bullied a lot. Everything from name calling to getting beaten up to people taking my lunch and all these kind of things. And a very typical kind of story. But my dad basically told me, he says, look, you got two choices. You're going to do hockey or you're going to do martial arts. I need you to do an activity that's going to make you stronger and tougher and all this kind of stuff. And I said, well, Dad, I don't want to do hockey because all the kids that bully me are in the hockey league. So I don't want to go there. I'll do karate, I guess. So yeah, he put me in a community center program for a 20-week program in our city here in Scarborough. And I did that for a while and I loved it. The moment I joined there, I was among a student body of, different shapes, different sizes, different races, different creeds, different genders, you name it, I felt at home. And then after that program, I felt really sad because it was done. And luckily, the head instructor of that community center program, he said, look, obviously you're really interested in this thing, but I teach the same program over and over again. He goes, but what you can do is go to my parents' school. So I started off, that's when my journey really started. So when I left that 20-week program, I joined a school here called Wong's Karate, and I fell in love with the art, man. It was a place of home. We got humbled every day. The training was really hard. It was a mix of Matsubayashi Ryu, Shorin Ryu,
nice.
and Chinese Kung Fu. And so I did that for about 14 years, and I wanted to, in that time, I socialized with different people. And back in the day when we were training, there wasn't the internet back then, and we would just kind of want to, out of curiosity, we wanted to test things out. So like in the change rooms, we'd be exchanging phone numbers and saying, hey man, do you want to hang out at my place on the weekend? We've got boxing gloves and gear, headgear and mouth guards, and I have a buddy who's done boxing, and I've done a buddy who's done wrestling. Do you want to just mix it up? And I was going, oh man, like I almost felt guilty with this question. I was going, I don't know, man. And we're whispering and stuff, and and it was funny, man. So so that was the way we communicated. So I picked up the phone, asked my parents permission if I can go and hang out with these guys and this and that, and then that's the cross training journey began, and I after 14 years I started to meet different people, and I met this one guy who basically said, listen, in our school, we strike and grapple and we do weapons defenses. Do you want to check it out? And so I checked it out. And have you heard of a teacher by the name of Ed Parker?
Oh, yes.
You know who he is?
Yep. I actually interviewed Ed Parker Jr. on my show.
Yes, that's right. You told me.
Yep.
You told me. So Ed Parker, he's like a behemoth in the martial art world. And, his legacy still continues. But anyway, one of my Canadian teachers, my Kempo instructor, trained and got certified under Ed. He would fly out to Pasadena and do all kinds of seminars and classes and stuff. And
wow.
Ed fell in love with this guy, and Ed says, my teacher, his name was Vic Arnold, and he says, listen, you've done enough classes with me, and he says, I'm going to put you through a certification test. And so he became a certified Kempo instructor, and he got the certificate to teach Kempo here in Canada. So I met him, and he was an interesting character. He blended his form of Kempo called Dainisi Kempo with Remy Presas's Arnis. He blended in Chinese Kung Fu, Shotokan, Goju-Ryu, and pretty much he was just a lifelong learner. So any kind of seminar or something he would study and cross-train with some of his senior students that he kind of discovered, he would just kind of infiltrate that into our curriculum. And so we had a free reign to all kinds of ranges of combat, which was really cool. And then the guys that were in that group, some of them were law enforcement officers, and they became some of my best friends. One of which is one of my students now.
Oh, nice.
So it's really cool, man. The martial art journey has been quite amazing, and I'm very humbled, and like I think it's so important to experience like a dojo setting or just even a constant mentor. But then it's also important, I think, to mix things up from various sources. So
definitely. So going back to that first school where you spent 14 years, now did you get into competition at all when you were there?
No, I didn't. So that's yes and no. So we had let's see. My sensei trained a group of kids and adults and youth in international competitions. So for the Canadian Nationals, and so he had a Canadian karate team. I was I tried out for it, and I ended up like training on that team. But my dad, he was scared for me, so he didn't want me to get hurt. So he he said, "Nah, you're not doing it." And also, he didn't want to afford the administration fees, so he said, "No, you can just train with these guys, and that's good enough."
Oh, okay.
So I hated him, but I also loved him for the same time, because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now, And
Exactly.
But I missed that competition thing. I always felt ripped off that I never did it. So, when I was in my 20s, 30s, and even now, I always look for opportunities where I can, spar full contact and keep things real.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice. Now, how about teaching? When did that start for you? Did that start back then, or did that come later?
Academic teaching or martial art?
Martial arts teaching.
Martial art teaching. Yeah. So I always had a how could I say an aptitude for helping others and teaching. So like even when I was like a blue belt in my club, my teacher would give me opportunities to take small groups, and when I became a senior belt, he gave me opportunities to lead the class and teach class, and so I did that I'd say from 15 just leading small groups to like about in my 20s where I was taking classes. But that was just like being an assistant instructor in the club. But then I started actual teaching martial arts in my 30s. When I started taking on private students, and then we did like local seminars, and then man, and then I don't know if you heard of these guys. They're called the Karate Culture Group. Have you heard of them?
I haven't. No.
Okay, so the Karate Culture guys, they're based in it's spearheaded by Mike Nguyen and Aaron Garcia, and these two guys they formed Karate Unity, I think, way back in 2018, and they're a dynamic group of guys. I think their base is in Shorin-ryu Karate, but they trained. Their instructor was a very open-minded individual, trained in law enforcement and this and that, law enforcement and stuff. And so like they did a lot of practical bunkai. They just exploded on YouTube. They had lots of viral videos. And so, yeah, the practical karate world knows these guys. And so, I love traveling and reaching out to people. So I just sent them a message one day and I said, listen, I love your stuff. Can I come visit you? And so Mike said to me, he says, why don't you come and stay with us? You can train with us and this and that. So I said, oh my God, that's great, right? So, so I went over there, and since then, they kind of got to know me, and they said, listen, you should be putting out content because you're very good at this kind of stuff. So, and you deliver the material very holistically and stuff like that. And they go, look, I'll help you start a channel. Why don't you call it? And then we're brainstorming names and this and that. And I said, how about karate? I like what you're doing, Karate Culture, but I don't want it to be a knockoff of what you guys are doing. So then they said, listen, you love cross training and this and that. So why don't you call it Karate Unity, which is kind of like an amalgamation of different styles into your karate mix, right? And so yeah, 2018, I launched Karate Unity on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And then ever since then, man, it's been a curve. I just recently, I mean, it's nothing to brag about, but I just reached the 2,000 subscriber mark, which is nice, considering that short period of time. So
that's really cool. So then what you thinking back to like when you were a blue belt then until now, what do you think's changed most about your teaching style?
Oh yeah, great question. Because I'm an educator academically, I changed the my pedagogy. So it's very intentional. So when I teach, it's intentional and it's differentiated based on the learner. I've learned enough to pick up on aptitudes and body mechanics and movements and stuff. And so I'm very sensitive to that, as opposed to, I grew up in a cookie cutter, and I don't mean that in a bad way, in a very mechanical, one size fits all type of teaching style where everybody gets the same curriculum. We all have to carbon copy it. And, the only free expression is in sparring, which of course, even back then, the sparring was very limited, UFC wasn't a thing back then. So like we would just kind of it was all stand up, we would do like, if we were to grapple, it would just be stand up grappling. And if you want to call it that, and and then back to striking again. But so I'm going off on a tangent here. Basically what I'm trying to say is the way I teach now is I cater my teaching to the students' needs.
Nice.
In a nutshell. And I also got a lot of, reinforcement from that method from Sensei Vic, because I'll give you an example. Like Vic, most, I wouldn't say most, a lot of traditional karate that I've experienced, you've got a set curriculum where you're learning your kihons and this and that, and all your basic mechanics, and then you've got a buffet of kata that you got to learn, right? Which like is usually about 15 to 20 kata on average, right? And that's a lot of stuff, right? And everybody's expected to do the kata the same way and this and that, and you don't really do anything with it. You just kind of memorize it and just try to do it as best as you can with expression and form and ferocity and all this kind of stuff, and that's it. There's really nothing much after that. But my sensei after Vic, for example, he would teach us kata, but he would teach us different kata for different people, which I found really cool and he would change up the kata to your needs, right? So, and he even told me, he says, listen, when you're going to get students of your own, he goes, you don't need kata. He goes, what's important is you need the ideas behind the kata. So he says, if you feel based on your student need that they're not a kind of student that's going to that's good at memorizing certain things, just show them the practical application and work backwards, and tailor make the kata to the student, or even tailor make the application to the student, right? So all of these things influenced the way I teach, and now it's it's also influenced the way that I teach my academic class as well. Like it's very go with the flow, improvisational, you know, and also sticking to a set foundational set of curriculum.
So have you ever, through your teaching within the school systems, have you ever tried to get like a martial arts club in one of the schools you taught at?
Yeah, these are great questions. Yes, when I worked in one of the school boards, actually the school board that I'm in right now, I'd say about back in 2007. Okay. 2007, way back in 2007, I made a proposal to my school, and I said, listen, I'd like to introduce martial arts into our health and physical curriculum. You know, can I do that? And so I had to, you know, put a proposal together and you know, put it to my principal. And like, you know, at the time, you know, the biggest problem with doing that kind of stuff is liability, right? So, you know, as long as I can show them that, you know, there's a safety plan integrated, kids are not going to get hurt, and as long as I can show them that I can tie this into character building, which is, you know, a very big thing in our school board, then I'm fine. And this was an easy thing for me to do because this is what martial arts is all about, right? Right. But unfortunately, I couldn't show them all the self-defense applications. So it was a lot of patterns and you know, shadow boxing kind of thing, and just air karate with minimal contact. But the point is, I started that in 2007, and it just grew since then. And to the point where, depending on the school that I get hired in, because like I don't stay at one school, I move around. I like to move around every 5 or 6 years. And there was one school, it was quite cool. They actually mustered up some budget for me and got me a whole set of equipment. So I had hand pads, I got shins, I got punch bags, focus mitts, and all of that, man. So I started the club building up from having all this equiment at this school. So it was nice.
So what ages in the schools were you teaching this in? Yeah,
so I'm in elementary school. So our school goes from kindergarten all the way to grade 8. So we're talking like age 5 to 14. Okay. But I had from 2007 onwards to about maybe 2014, I taught like say kindergarten all the way up to like grade 4, 5, and then as I moved on, I taught the older kids. So up to age 14.
So do you know, did any of them stick with it after you left and keep going in martial arts? Have you kept track of any of them?
Yes, not a lot of them, but a few of them. And so what's cool is like I get emails, you know, and phone calls from parents saying, you know, my son and daughter really liked it. Can you have any recommendations and things like that? But I'd love to take them on as students, but it's a conflict of interest, so I can't teach them whilst they're at the school still. Right. But I recommend them to all my colleagues and you know, my fellow instructors and stuff, and then I usually meet up with them once they leave the school system. That's cool. You know, some of them stick with it, and some of them stay with the clubs, and some of them don't. But
that's good, though.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's what happens.
I know many people have tried that and been unsuccessful, so I'm great you're able to make it work. That's awesome.
Yeah, like I said, there's not a 100% conversion, but I mean, I'd say out of everybody I teach, let's say on average, about maybe 5 to 10% continue on.
That's pretty good.
You know, I mean, yeah.
I mean, just the fact that you got it into the school system is great, because I know how difficult that can be. So, because I've tried that myself without success, so I'm glad you were able to do that also. That's great.
Well, nice. The thing is, you see, it's an easy sell because I'm not really creating another subject. It's a subject that's there. It's just that the way I'm teaching the subject is different. So right. Like a lot of gym teachers, you know, without a martial art background, they would just teach, you know, the health and physical education curriculum, but you know, without any martial arts, right? But I'm covering all the expectations, but just doing it with martial arts. So nice. Yeah, so nice. Yeah, I'm lucky.
Cool. No, that's good. So then, with all the blend you've done with your style, so if someone asks you, "What is your style?" What's your answer?
That's a tough question, man. Because I giggle every single time when someone asks me this, and I get it's a long one. Like I've kind of got it down to the part where I just say I'm a mixed martial art guy. Okay. Yeah, and they say, "Oh, you mean like UFC?" And I go, "Well, kinda." then they some just stop at oh, okay, or some will say, oh, you so what do you do, taekwondo? Right? And
Yep.
and I, and I go, well, that's part of it. Yeah, that's part of it. And I go, I'm a karate guy. And I go, oh, so you like, like they have this, it's funny, like people have a how could I say, a stereotype view of karate,
like a
there's-
preconceived notion or something like that. Or,
yeah, like
yep.
I don't blame them, because I was there before. I mean, if I didn't do it, I wouldn't know it, right? And
Yep.
they have this preconceived notion of karate as being like a kids daycare, or like a whole bunch of Dungeons and Dragons geeks, or George Lucas wannabes, or like they have a very negative view of karate guys. And it's funny, like I'll tell you a quick story, like
Okay.
a funny one. So here out of my gym here, I have a home base. My home base is my house. I have a basement dojo. It's fully stocked. I've got MMA mats, Wing Chun dummy bags, weight training equipment, and mirrors, and the whole bit, right?
Nice.
And so in this facility here, this is where all my cross training happens. My privates happen, and it's a revolving door. Like instructors come in and out. Like we were talking unofficially offline today. I had 2 instructors today. One of them is one of my senior belts, and he's cross trained in my system, but he's a judoka. I think brown belt or black belt in judo, and first or second dan in Aikido. He trained in Japan with Steven Seagal's group.
Nice.
Over there, and he does a lot of defensive tactical stuff. And anyway, so I have all these people coming in and out. There was one guy that I came across, and he's a Muay Thai instructor, and he goes, "Hey man," he goes, "I got a referral to train with you. I heard you're a mixed guy." And he goes, "Do you mind if we get together and train?" I go, "Yeah, come on down to my dojo." So he came down, and we're touching hands and stuff. And he goes, "You're not a karate guy, man, right?" And he goes, "You can actually box." Right? And then I'm going, and I'm just laughing, and he goes, "Bro, I'm not gonna lie." He goes, "I would never even give you the time of day if I." He goes, "First of all," he goes, I had to ask about you first, because when I heard that you're a karate guy, I go, I don't want to train with a karate guy." And he goes, "Because I'm not gonna." He goes, "You guys can't fight, man." That's what he said, right? And he goes,
Wow.
he goes, "But you're a different breed." He goes, I can't pinpoint what you do. He goes, "But you definitely have a knowledge of a lot of different systems, right?" And he goes, "That's cool." And I go, "Yeah, I wanted you down." His name was Jacob. I go, because I wanted to clean up my Muay Thai, my inside fighting, right? And so you see what I'm saying? So this is the kind of the reason why I brought this up is to your point. People have preconceived notions, right? And it's sad.
Oh, I mean, like me, I'm maybe not quite as many styles. I've cross trained in many styles over the years. My core system is traditional Taekwondo, and
Nice.
a lot of people have preconceived notions of Taekwondo because they see the Olympics and that's what they think. They think it's the hands hanging at the side, all you do is kick, don't know how to punch, and then they come train with me and like, "Man, you actually punch?" Like, yeah, it's Taekwondo is technically supposed to be 50% feet, 50% hands.
Yeah,
And it's
foot,
that's the
fist, way.
Exactly, that's the traditional way, and a lot of people don't get that. It's like the sport Taekwondo unfortunately kind of gives the traditional stuff a bad name. So it's I definitely understand where you're coming from. So
No, but to the point of Taekwondo, like I have mad respect for Taekwondo people. And I'm not just saying this, just to be polite here. Like I really do. I have mad respect for all arts. You know why? Because look, man, in about 30 plus years, I have met OGs in the game. People that can kick my ass with their feet, like Taekwondo at a very high level. These guys can box with their feet. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And it's not just that. I've met, that's the sports side, but I've met some hardcore Taekwondo guys. Recently, I just came back from a seminar in Germany, which I just wanted to say I'm proud of the fact that, and also humbled that people are actually, inviting me to their countries to teach there and stuff. So I just came back from Germany in March, and I met I taught I think in total like 100 and almost 125 students.
Wow.
over a few days. It was a nice experience. And one of the groups that I taught, one of them was a high level Taekwondo black belt, but his expression of Taekwondo and the way he was taught Taekwondo was a very dirty style of Taekwondo. So the kicks weren't high; it was very low. It was a lot of hand traps and quick in and outs, very dirty. You know what I'm saying? And
Yep.
I was looking at that, and I was going, "That's not Taekwondo." And he goes, "Yeah, it is." He goes, "That's the way I was taught it." And he goes, "This is the way it was. It was like for a lot of arts, right?"
Yep.
So
yeah. See, I'm lucky. My instructor is an 8th degree. His instructor is a 10th degree. And his instructor, Grandmaster Mu Young Yun, was with the Tiger Rocks in the Korean War. So a lot of that stuff that they used in combat is what we use in our traditional system. We started adding in ground fighting into Taekwondo in the early 90s. I think we were the first school in our area to add in ground fighting when no one else was doing it, before the UFC came out and stuff. So, which is cool.
That's good, man.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So now, when you your students that have been with you in training for a long time, so do you promote them in one of the styles you have belts in, or how does that work with your students?
Yeah, so in our curriculum, I promote them within my under the Karate Unity umbrella.
Okay.
And I would put it under in Karate Unity is the name of our social media, I guess you could say, presence.
Yep.
But it's also you could say a methodology. But because a lot of the core principles came from that I've identified with came from Kempo. I would for example, give an example. One of my recent black belts that are just he's going up the ranks. He's brown right now, and I'm testing him for Shodan in December, and so he will get a certificate under the Dainisi Kempo. I guess you can say school.
Okay.
Or system. But the thing is, my teacher Vic, he's passed now, but he basically said that I've got free reign to if I'm going to be certifying people, you can call it whatever you want, and basically take reign of the curriculum because it's yours now. He says you do what you want with it, right? But it's a respect thing. I mean, I treated the guy like my father, so I'm gonna pay homage to that by putting Dainisi Kempo on the certificate, but along with Karate Unity as well.
Okay. Which student, or not, you don't have to give a name, but I mean, what is the longest reigning student you have with you? Like, how long have they been training with you?
That would be one of the guys that came today.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So Mark Borsboom. Oh my God, I've known him since high school, since 81, 82.
Wow. Okay.
But I haven't. We started training officially, I'd say, let's see, at the end of high school. So
Okay.
at around grade 12, grade 13.
Okay.
And then him and I, he's been my student since.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what type of content can people see if they would search out? I'll put links for all your stuff on the show notes, but what kind of content can people find on your YouTube channel and stuff?
Yeah, so my content focuses on cross-training and other arts and combat sports to make your base art better. So in my case, it's karate. So I'm basically showcasing how different martial arts and combat sports, the biomechanical principles behind all of that can be tied into Kihon Kata, to give you better options and to give you better ideas for bunkai and self-defense, right? So I've got some one of my it's funny, when I came back from Germany, one of the biggest viewed videos, in 2 days I got almost over 9,000 views. I mean, for me that's big. For others, I mean, that's nothing, but I just found that kind of strange and also humbling because it's a very short period of time for me. But in that particular video, it was a video focusing on Pinan Yondan, which is one of our katas, and I was showcasing how you can use the double shuto uke, which is the knife hand block, but basically use it as a tactical dive against a haymaker punch. So, and I got that from cross-training in Krav Maga and my police defensive tactic instructor friends. They were saying, one of the quickest ways to stuff an aggressive punch coming at you is just to stuff it by just getting small, shrimping up, and just kind of putting both your hands, inserting, one into the bicep and one into the collarbone or neck or whatever, and just go from options from there, like overhook, underhook, strikes or whatever, and so I kind of tied that kind of application to kata movements and karate guys love that stuff, man. When you show them applications and how you tie it into a kata or a kihon, they go crazy.
Definitely, that's awesome. Yeah, like I said, I'll put links for all that because I love the cross training.
Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube is at Karate Unity. The handle is where you can find me.
Nice. So what type of advice would you give someone looking to get into martial arts for the first time? They've never done it before and they just want to know what should they look for and what should they avoid?
Basically, I had an interesting conversation with one of my tactical instructors today, and he, like, I'm just gonna, because it's fresh in my mind, I would basically advise, finding an instructor is like a bond. It's a relationship, a rapport that you have with a parent or with a good friend or whatever. You just know it, like so you need to find an instructor that you get along with, and that inspires you, that gives you that spark, that calls you out on your mistakes, that guides you, that takes care of your needs, psychologically, emotionally, and physically. So that happens, you can't. That's something that just happens systemically, based on the interview when you meet this person. But secondly, to pick a martial art instructor or a school or a system, whatever, you kind of got to know what you're looking for, based on your physical strengths and limitations, and just your psyche, you got to know who you are. And if you don't, then you just have to just kind of test, try out the trial classes. Most schools, have trial classes out there, and go and try it out, and just kind of go with a friend maybe, and because your friend's going to know you better, right? And kind of see things from a third person point of view. And, between that and just your gut feel, you will make the choice.
Nice. So I'm assuming then, since you do pretty much mostly private stuff and small stuff, did the COVID and the pandemic have any effect on you at all? Or were you able to just keep going like normal? Other than the traveling?
It did. It did. It stopped, there was a lot of fear. Our family was scared. I have a wife and a daughter, and we didn't. Our gym here is like a revolving door of people, and since COVID hit, we that stopped for a while, but then my sanity was going. I was going crazy, not training, and so I made some calculated decisions and trained with selective cohorts. And and then the wave kind of settled for a bit, and right now in Toronto, they're saying that there's going to be another wave of this new variant, but I don't really see it yet. So
fingers crossed.
It's full rain boogie here, man. I think people are coming in and out. We're back to normal.
There you go. That's good. So what are your thoughts then on MMA and the UFC, and are you a fan?
100%. Love it.
Nice.
Yeah.
So then
I'm a fan.
Are you more of a fan of old school UFC from the 90s or the newer stuff?
I like both, man.
Yeah.
I like both. Like I was wowed by the fact, UFC 1, 2, and 3, I think, jarred the friggin' world, man. Like people for once, and thank goodness, Gracie shocked the world, saying that, hey, we can do this. We can deal with bigger guys, and it's just a matter of being creative and using the tools that you got, and in a creative way. And the whole cross training thing, I think came from the UFC, man. Mind you, people, I think it was well marketed.
Yeah.
I think the Gracies did a great job marketing the UFC, and so because of that, and also just the reality of having different styles pitted up against each other, seeing what's effective and stuff. Who the hell would have the balls to do that kind of stuff? That was great. And so, but then now, you have strategic. Well, right now, the UFC fighters now are like Bugattis. You know what I'm saying? They're like Lamborghini cars, man. They're well-tuned, oiled machines. Sports science has developed to the point where, fight kinesiology is a thing, and it's just amazing to see how, fighters can be produced and all these techniques executed from various styles very quickly and efficiently, right? So I like both, man. I'm more, obviously I love the UFC now. And mind you, I don't watch it all the time. It's an excuse to get out and drink some beer and wings.
There you go.
But when there's hype, I'll watch it.
Okay. So who are some names, and they don't have to be people they can be people you've met and trained with. They can be people that you've just, heard of, like an Ed Parker. But who are some names that you would put on your personal, Mount Rushmore of martial arts?
Oh, man. Okay. This is not in any particular order.
Yep.
But my teachers, So Kwai Wong, Vic Arnold. They're my main influences. Sam Lumpini. He's my current main influencer right now. Like I train for the last, let's say, 10 years off and on, maybe a year or two. I've been training at Sam Lumpini Gym, which is it's a mixed martial art gym, but it's got Krav Maga, boxing, Savat, Muay Thai,
Nice.
and it's a well-rounded gym. And so Sam Lumpini, he's up there. And then so my teachers, and then all my seminar instructors, that I've taken seminars with, is too long of a list to list out. But
Right.
and and then Bruce Lee. I mean,
Nice. Yep.
since I was a kid, Bruce Lee was a huge influencer. I have all his Jeet Kune Do books, and
One of
it's
the
funny, I
original
used
cross
to-
trainers.
Yeah, people would say he was the original father of UFC.
Yep.
I don't know if I'd stretch it that much, but if you take a look at what he was doing, like he was fusing grappling and striking and savats and fencing footwork and praying mantis, like circular motions and all
Yep.
these things, man. Like
It's
he
crazy.
was above his time. He was
Definitely.
above his time.
Definitely.
But yeah, Bruce Lee, and then Eric Paulson.
Okay.
I don't know if you heard of Eric Paulson.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. Oh man, there's too many to list, man. But that's off the top of my head.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good list. All right. Is there, in all your years of martial arts, is there a philosophy you've learned that just rises to the top? It's really important to you. You keep coming back to it.
Yes, cross train.
Nice. That's a good
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, cross train. Cross train means different things for different people, but bottom line, if you take a look at the most effective fighters out there, and one venue, this is a hard sell for traditional instructors and stuff, and people get heated arguments, man, over stuff like this. Is the moment you mention combat sport, traditional person would kind of, you'd get banned, you'd get cut off, it's terrible. But the point is, like, a combat sport arena test is one of the best ways to test your martial art,
Right.
in my opinion, right? That, of course, apart from the fact that, you got to get yourself into real fights, but, but a combat sport, tests your art pretty safely, and, you're under a lot of pressure too, right? It's different from a confrontation, but I would put my money on Conor McGregor versus, I don't want to disrespect anybody, but say a hardcore Okinawan karate master.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. I get that.
But my philosophy would be to spend enough time, find a teacher, find a school, spend enough time there, till you reach, say, a senior level, okay, and then start looking at biomechanical similarities with all the different martial arts and combat sports, because at some, when you put in enough time in training, you'll see that there's really nothing new that you can learn after a certain amount of time. It's just what you do learn is different ways to deliver it and different ways to learn it. It's a matter of just options and nuances and flavors,
Nice.
Yeah, because that's my philosophy, and in order to understand that, you'd have to cross train and touch hands with different martial artists and different players, and biggest thing that I want to push out there is kind of like a Bruce Lee thing, try not to get caught up in style, because style is like a crystallization, it's a very personal thing, you got to look beyond style, and look at movement, and how you can use that move. Yeah.
Okay, that's a great answer. I love it. A lot of the same philosophies I have, so
I don't know if that makes sense, but
makes perfect sense. All right, so I got a few fun questions to wrap it up. Do you have a favorite martial arts book?
do I have a favorite martial arts book?
Yep.
Ooh. Oh man. Yeah, so I do. but oh man. It's hard to, okay, so can I just say this? Like,
yes.
So lately, martial art authors and stuff have been sending me their books to review, and some of them have asked me to write forwards for their books and things.
Okay.
Have you heard of Chris Wilder? Do you know who Chris Wilder is?
He was a guest on my show. Yep, I know Chris.
Okay, yeah. So Chris is a good friend of mine. Chris sent me one of his books, and I wrote I believe a review and a forward for it. So yeah, his stuff is great, but I don't know. It's hard to say a favorite book.
Right.
It's hard to say. There's so many, man. I have a book that I go to a lot for learning my Shorin-ryu, which is the essence of Okinawan Karate Do, written by Shoshu Nagamine.
Oh, nice.
But that book is a good reference manual for traditional kata and forms in the Shorin-ryu syllabus. But one of the books that you know what, I'm going to say it. Okay, so I came back from Germany, and one of the instructors I met, I think we talked about this just earlier on. He's a Taekwondo instructor, but he also cross-trained in the Ashihara system, a full-contact karate guy. He's a high-level judoka and cross-trained in all these different arts and sports. And he's also an avid writer and such a knowledgeable man. He's in his 70s, and I got a chance to train with this guy, and this guy is a beast.
Nice.
And at the end of the session, he surprised the heck out of me. He got all of his students to sign, and he signed, and he gave me one of his books, man.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I think I have it here. Hold on. Let me just reach over here. It's in one of my shelves. One sec, okay?
No problem.
Yeah, so it's one of my favorites at the moment, and because it resonates with pretty much where I'm at this moment in my training. So it's called Full Contact Karate Training by Jürgen Holler. So he's spelled Jurgen, Jürgen Holler, Hoeller.
Okay.
And also co-authored by last name Malushka, Maluschka.
Okay.
And it's available at Amazon, and it's such an amazing book. It teaches you, quick and dirty applications. It gets into biomechanical principles, physical conditioning. Such a great book, man.
Nice. I will add that to my list. That's the whole
Yes.
the whole reason I asked that question is so I can build up my own library even more. So
Oh, I know. So let me ask you, what are some of your favorite books?
see, mine changes so often because only bad thing is in the last couple of years because I jumped into this podcast, I haven't had time to read. I used to read a book a week, and
Wow.
and I haven't done that in a few years because I've just been so busy doing this. Because I produce like 3 different podcasts plus my voiceover business and stuff. But I mean, one of my go-tos is Aoi's Tao of Jeet Kune Do. I love that book.
Yes.
Yeah. I love the I'm trying to remember the name of the author, but it's The Killing Art: The True History of Taekwondo. If anyone who's ever studied Taekwondo, that's a really good one. And then Zen and the Martial Arts by Joe Hyams. That's usually the one where if someone asks me for a recommendation for a book, that's the first one I usually recommend is Zen and the Martial Arts. I love that book so much. It's a quick read. It's a small book, but it's phenomenal. And then if you like, I also read I read a lot of biographies on martial artists and stuff. And I've read some really Benny the Jet's biography by Tom Bleecker is such a good one. And Rick Avery's biography.
Benny. I love Benny, man.
Yep. Yeah. And Bishop Donnie Williams, his biography is so good. So yeah, I mean things like that. But yeah, definitely Zen and the Martial Arts is usually my first pick.
I'm writing that down.
Nice.
Zen in the Martial Arts. Written by who?
Joe Hyams, Hyams. I actually can't believe you haven't heard of that one. Wow. It's been around for a while. Joe Hyams was a kind of a mentor to Tom Bleecker, who was one of my early guests, and he wrote the Journey, the Kenpo books, the Journey. He wrote those series.
Yes.
So Tom Bleecker's written some movies and stuff and TV shows, but he writes a lot of biographies, and he wrote the book on Bruce Lee, the couple different books on Bruce Lee, The Unsettled Matters, which is a great book. Yeah. So yeah, no, that's the Joe Hyams one is usually my go-to, for anyone who's interested at all in martial arts. But yeah, I mean, it's Tao of Jeet Kune Do. I've probably read that more than any other book. So
it's amazing that Tao Jeet Kune Do, like as you get older and just as you train different things, or as your mind changes about certain things, like when you look at a book like that, you get different meaning from it.
Yep, exactly.
Like when I look at those sketches that he did, and I'm looking at some of the stuff I'm doing right now, and some of the things my instructors are doing or whatever, I'm just seeing, I'm obsessed with all these connections I'm making. It's amazing, like Bruce was a genius, man.
Yep. Yes, he was.
Yeah.
Yep. No, and that's one guy I would have loved to have met and trained with, obviously before my time. But I've been lucky enough to interview 3, 4, 5 people who knew him, who met him, who trained with him. So got to hear some firsthand stories and stuff, and which is really cool.
That's cool, man.
But yeah, he's just an amazing guy. All right, cool. Next question. So I don't know, you're close to my age. You're a little older, but I'm just wondering if you were ever a gamer. Do you have a favorite martial arts video game?
Not martial arts video game, no.
Okay. Okay.
But I grew up. I was born in '68, so
Okay.
I grew up with the Atari 2600,
Heck yeah.
ColecoVision.
Yep.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, see, Atari 2600. I loved Pitfall and Asteroids, and ColecoVision. I loved Burger Time.
Yeah. Okay. Asteroids, 100%.
Yep.
Asteroids is in the top of my list, and Galaga.
Oh yeah.
And what's it? I don't know if Galaga was an Atari 2600.
Oh yeah, it was. I had that one. Yep.
Was it?
Yep.
Okay.
And I think my one of my favorite ones on Atari was a game called Mega Mania. A lot of people don't remember that one, but that was a fun game. Yeah. No, I love.
Yeah, we had these like 8-track cartridges, I think, that you would put into the system. It's so cheese, but it was amazing.
It was fun though.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man. When my mom first bought it for me, I remember distinctly. We were in the living room in our pajamas. I didn't even brush my teeth. I was playing this thing for like hours, bro.
I remember the first time I beat Asteroids. I can't remember how many straight hours I played it, and my mom got so mad at me for sitting in front of the TV playing it for so long. And then I think it was like a month or two later, we got the game Miss Pac-Man, and we got her to play it.
Yes.
And I came home one time, and she had been playing Miss Pac-Man for like 3.5 hours, and her hand was going numb. We're like, Mom. So, yeah, it was so much fun. I like the good old days. I went from that. I don't remember any martial arts games on there that I had. I know when I got my Commodore 64 after we had the Atari, probably in about like 86, that was when I had my first like martial arts karate game. I had a couple different ones. I know there was that game called Bruce Lee. That was probably a bootleg that wasn't actually, certified by the Bruce Lee Foundation or anything like that. But I remember I vaguely remember that game called Bruce Lee on the Commodore 64. And I remember going on YouTube and finding a clip of it, and man, I can't believe I enjoyed that because it's really ugly now. But yeah, that's all good. Yeah, all right. How about a favorite martial arts TV show?
Ooh, favorite martial arts TV show. There's a few.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, wait a second. Okay, this just popped into my head.
Okay.
But have you heard of 21 Jump Street?
I love 21 Jump Street, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know if it was martial arts, but there was one guy, I think his name was Dustin
Nguyen, yep.
Yeah, he did a lot of martial arts on that.
I've actually tried to get him on my show. I haven't got a response yet.
Yeah, I always wondered what happened to that guy.
Yeah, he's still acting, so.
Yeah, that's cool. But so that came into mind, and then believe it or not, man, I actually really like Kung Fu with David Carradine.
Okay.
When, but I had no clue about how Bruce got ripped off on that part and stuff. Yep. But when I found that out, I said, that show is crap.
That's right. I was the same way.
I like that. And then, what else was there? TV show.
Mm-hmm.
I think Chuck Norris did one, didn't he?
Walker, Texas Ranger.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Yep. I like watching that.
It's a fun show.
But I can't think of anything else. But if you mention some stuff, I'd probably recognize
80s
it.
and 90s, there was a lot of good ones. I mean, there's a lot of them only lasted like 1 or 2 seasons. Like in the early 80s, there was the show The Master with
The Master.
Yes, yeah, with was it Lee Van Cleef? I think was in it.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, with Timothy Van Patten, I think, and yeah, they had the ninja traveling around. It was, I think, Demi Moore was in the pilot episode of that, which was funny.
Yes.
And then there was Sidekicks with Ernie Reyes Jr.
Sidekicks, yes.
That was another one that was like 1 season, I think. And then one of the ones I really enjoyed in the early 90s was another 1 season or maybe 2 season show, but it was called Street Justice. It starred a martial artist named Brian Genesee. He was a high level in Hung Gar Kung Fu. And then it had Carl Weathers, who played Apollo Creed in the Rocky movies.
Yes.
It was a lot like, it was like, I tell people it's like the adult version of Sidekicks. So Carl Weathers was a cop, and Brian Genesee was, I think, late teens, early 20s, and he kind of,
I saw a few episodes.
Yeah. So that was kind of cool. And then there was actually, in the early 90s, there was the sequel to Kung Fu, the Kung Fu: The Legend Continues.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, I didn't like that very much.
It wasn't.
I don't know.
It wasn't as good, but like I said, it was martial arts, so I watched it. So, and then Highlander was another good one.
Yep.
Yep.
Do you remember the trial of Billy Jack?
Oh yeah. That's some good martial arts. Some Hapkido.
Kill or Be Killed. Do you remember that series?
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a lot of good stuff out there.
Movies, but
yeah. And I'm one who I enjoy Cobra Kai. So.
Yep. Yeah, I like it too. I mean, it's really cheesy, but I like it just because of the nostalgia, you know.
Exactly.
I think correct. Like, I don't know if you agree, but I think they did a really good job, like blending all the relationships, you know, with everybody, you know, and tying it into like how all the relationships kind of parallel, you know, Miyagi and Daniel, you know.
Yep. Oh, completely. No, it's I watch it with my daughter whenever. I can't wait till September to watch the next season. It's so good. Love it so much. So.
Yep.
All right. So, how about favorite martial arts movie?
Oh yeah. Enter the Dragon, hands down, bro.
Nice. Okay. Good.
I mean, Enter the Dragon. Like I'll just tell you a quick thing about that. Like Enter the Dragon for me was a game changer, bro.
Okay.
I'll tell you why. It's real quick. Like I love it when I talk. I get goosebumps when I talk about this.
Nice.
I saw Enter the Dragon shortly after he passed.
Oh.
And so it came out in Toronto. I remember this distinctly, like with a double feature with Jackie Chan's Big Brawl. Do you remember that movie?
Yep.
Yeah, Jackie Chan's Big Brawl. I mean, I think in some places it was called Battle Creek Brawl, but it was Jackie Chan's Big Brawl and what's it? Enter the Dragon. And so Big Brawl came out first, so it was a double feature. So I saw that first, and then I was thinking, yeah, this is pretty cool. He's a funny guy. He has all kinds of cool moves and stuff. And I was like 10 years old or 11 when I saw this. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, you know, we had our intermission and stuff, and I was kind of tired because I've never been to a double feature before. And as a kid, you know, I'm really bored and sitting there, and I just want to just get out and go home and stuff. And then the curtains closed and it opened up, and then dun, 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 wah! Right? And then the Enter the Dragon thing came out, and then the opening scene where he's like, you know, it's louse time, and he's teaching this kid, and like how he just amazing, man. Like when he was fighting Sammo Hung in the beginning, and then the fight scene where he was doing all these like stop kicks and pak sao back fist and pak da techniques from Wing Chun against Bob Wall or whatever, and I was going, holy crap, man. I went to the local martial arts store and I bought all 4 of his Jeet Kune Do books.
Nice.
And I started practicing stop kicks, stop hits, and all this stuff. And I fell in love with him, man, since then, man.
That's good.
And it started to change the way I train.
See, and I've never seen that on the big screen because I was born in '74. And locally, they've never played it locally. And I've tried to get some of my local theaters for like the 30th anniversary, 40th. It's like, you need to please show this movie because I want to see it on the big screen. I mean, I own the DVD and I've seen it so many times, but I want to see it on the big screen. I just think that'd be so cool.
You know, it would be cool, bro. Can you imagine if they digitally remastered that thing and put it out in IMAX or something?
Yeah.
Oh,
it would be awesome.
But check this. I mean, I'm really curious as to why they have not done some sort of like, say, after story from Enter the Dragon. Can you imagine, or like a sequel, a prequel to it? Like, can you imagine? Like think about it. Enter the Dragon was like a kind of like a Chinese James Bond type of action kind of movie, right? Mm-hmm. And I mean, think about it. You can have like the right now in the modern age, you know, how how Han had his drug world empire proliferated into like, say, the, you know, tech crime or just anyways, just some high level gangster crap, you know?
Right.
And then you have a somebody from Bruce Lee's lineage, like say for example, let's just say one of his Shaolin students, and like, you know how in the beginning you had like the opening scene where he's teaching one of his Shaolin students or whatever. You remember that?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So let's just say you have like one of those disciples that kind of became an operative for that same organization, and you know what I mean. The story continues, but with one of his students. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they can, and with CG now and technology and all of that, they can easily make an amazing epic movie. But I don't know why they haven't done that yet.
I know at one point they were talking about remaking it, and there was just so much uproar about remaking it because it's so good just the way the original is. So I'm hoping they don't do that. I mean, a sequel could be interesting. You know, maybe have like, you know, Bruce Lee's great grandson or something like that, or who knows, but it'd be a sequel, or a prequel could be really cool. I mean, it could interesting, like a Han the younger years or something, but could be cool. Yeah. There's definitely a story there, so.
Or something involving his sister in the movie, you know, like something like that. Like just take some aspect of Enter the Dragon and kind of blow it up, either before or after, you know. And I don't know why, like I don't know why they don't do that, because I think it would make it it would cause a big uproar, man.
Oh yeah. Well, there we go. Let's write it.
Yeah, let's do it.
We'll do it. Oh, I just thought of one more TV show. I'm assuming you saw Kingdom, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great show, man.
Oh, yeah.
Loved it.
Yeah, I'm trying to get Frank Grillo on the show. I'm fingers crossed.
No way.
I'm trying. I'm really, really, really hoping. So we'll see what happens. But it'd be a lot of fun to chat with him. I put the request out.
Man, you got connections, man.
Well, I haven't got him yet.
Yeah.
You know, I've had some good names. You know, I just did Simon Rhee a couple days ago.
Yeah, you were saying.
Yeah, so if you like Best of the Best, I mean, that's, you know,
I did
another great classic movie. So
let me ask you: is Philip and Simon brothers?
Yep, yeah, they're brothers in real life. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And Philip actually wrote Best of the Best. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah, which I had forgot about. Simon kind of told that story and stuff, and I might be having Philip on the show too. So yeah, it'd be yeah.
Yeah, I really like what they've done with their martial art practice, man. They've really like kept it pretty holistic, you know?
Yes.
Striking, grappling, weapons, all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think everyone's kind of, at least the smart ones, are kind of going that way and blending in other stuff, and kind of the thing to do, and you almost need to nowadays. So.
Yeah, 100%.
Nice. Cool. Well, anything else you want to mention before I let you go? I've definitely taken a lot of your time, but it's been so much fun. I've loved talking to you. Great story. And I hope I get to train with you someday, man. It'd be a lot of fun to, if you ever do a seminar in Minnesota, you got to let me know. I'll come to it.
Oh, you're based in Minnesota?
Yes, correct.
Oh, okay. Actually, I don't want to do a spoiler trail here, but I'm trying to get a Minnesota gig in 2023, so next year.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
So there's a group of instructors that I don't want to spoil it yet, because I want to make sure that I can do it. But
okay.
Yeah, so hopefully, fingers crossed, I'll be in Minnesota next year. So
nice.
I'll let you know.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I'm assuming probably in Minneapolis is where you're looking at, and that's about a 3.5-hour drive for me. So it's definitely doable.
I don't know. I'm not sure where their city is.
Okay. Okay.
I'd have to check.
Cool. We can chat a little when we're done recording here, because I might actually know them. Who knows?
Yeah. We'll do that. I'll bring up the info here and check it out.
Awesome. Well, once again, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much, and I will be in touch when the episode's ready.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening to Everyday Martial Artist. We hope you will join us every week for a brand new episode with a different martial artist telling their story. If you enjoy the show, be sure to leave us a review. Also, be sure to check out our website at everydaymartialartist.com. There you can find all of our episodes and contact us to suggest guests and ask questions. Again, thanks for listening to Everyday Martial Artist, and we'll see you next week.